Okay, now in this video I want to talk to you about the HUD game timer and the in-level stat screen timers and their differences and stuff. And as you can see by like the code behind me and cheat engine hidden off to the side, it's gonna get a bit detailed and probably rambly. So first thing, let's just freeze the game for a few seconds. So the game's not processing anything during this time, but real time is passing. So now if I unfreeze and let's finish the level, first thing you'll notice it was like a 50-ish. Oh great, this bug happened. I'm using resolution just because it's where I've done the most cheat engine work, but it is buggy. It might still work. I don't know. Let's just get back to that stats screen. Good thing I made a quick save. Saves a little extra bit of time. So this time I didn't pause, but let's see. Yep, it says 1 minute 48 there, but only 28 seconds down there. And this top timer is just a real timer. So it takes your started time and subtracts the current time. If the game pauses, I assume if you create a save and come back, I never actually tried. Well, the quick save kind of just did. In those cases it keeps going up, that's the point. But where do these two timers come from? And where does the HUD timer come from? Well, for the HUD timer, looking at the code now, it's pretty simple. If HUD v show time is on, what it does is it calls ptimer current tick rather, to get a time value, converts that into an amount of seconds, and then displays that on your draw port in this certain position. The important thing here, time comes from ptimer current tick. Now, where do the stat screen times come from? Well, for this we go to the player file, and unfortunately this is one of Croteam's special .es files, which is basically C++, but has the wrong extension, so Visual Studio doesn't recognize it. Anyway, get stats, that's obviously where it gets stats from. In this case, it was doing get detail stats co-op, because we're playing co-op, but split screen counts as co-op, but as you'll see in a second, it's the exact same as single player. Get detail stats co-op calls get detail stats single player, and these are all references, so it keeps adding on to the same thing. And single player is actually where the times come from, so you can see the playing time is get stats real world time, which makes sense, it's what we saw. And the other one, time here, is get stats in-game time level, and get stats in-game time gain. And all three of those functions actually are defined right above it up here, so real world time, I won't spend much time on, but you can see it gets either the end of level time or the current time and does a diff time with the start time. Simple enough. For in-game time level, if the level has ended, it gets the player stats time from the level stats struct. Otherwise, it returns pnetwork get game time minus level started, and in-game time game is similar except for it grabs from the game stat struct, and if you're still in-game it also still adds that on because it's your previous levels, because the timer continues between them. But so now, where does this get set? So, pnetwork get game time, that's something we're going to investigate. Well, it turns out it gets set here in this function record end of level data. This one is only actually called if you continue on to a new level, by the way. So on the final stats screen, I don't know what happens, but it didn't want to hit my breakpoint. Anyway, it calls ptimer current tick to set this. So that's what we saw on HUD. On your stats screen, it grabs the same value as HUD, but if you open it mid-game, it grabs a different value. But to quickly look at that, network get game time, and firstly pnetwork and ptimer, they're both just constants in engine here. So network get game time returns game session state dot last process tick, and last process tick here is used all over the place, but if we just go take a look at some of those, this one's the important time. P timer set current tick. We'll get back to that. Sets current tick to last process tick. If you look for a bit more, most of the time, here it's set to a tick in the packet, which makes sense. It's grabbing something from the network. Here it's grabbing something from, it's grabbing a raw pointer from across the network, so we can take that. Here it's setting the current tick again. Here it's reading from the things, we can ignore that. Setting current tick again. It keeps calling the same function p timer set current tick. Now this doesn't really super matter because we're not caring about the time it shows mid-game, but I figured I might as well go over it anyway. So we check timer.ccp. Here's what both the things we're doing to get current time, timer current tick. This just returns C current tick timer, and up here is set current tick, which sets the timer to current tick as long as the object isn't null. So if we just take a look at what's used here, we have set current tick, and get lerped current tick, which we don't need to care about. Up here it's defined, here it's cleared to 0 when you in the constructor, and then it's just these three again. So the only way to change this variable is to call set current tick, which is what network is doing. So network and p timer return the same value for this. That's basically all that point was. There's another side note, tick quantum here is 1/20th of a second, that's how quickly the game runs these things. Now if we come back here, so the important thing is HUD shows exactly that current tick time in the timer, but it only shows your, if you're mid-game it subtracts your level started time, but over here it sets current tick minus level started. That is the key to all of this, because obviously if you play 2 levels it only wants to show you the game time for the second level, but now if I start a new game and bring over cheat engine, this is why I'm doing it in Revolution, because I've done the most cheat engine work here, and I just need to get it to resync the position of this pointer. No, did I break it? Or it's because I restarted the game actually, that's why. Now it works, yeah. So I re-grabbed it and you can see, now here we have this last process tick from session state, and this variable is going up in line with the timer roughly. Cheat engine only updates like once every 1.5 seconds, it looks like. It's not super fast, so that's why you're not seeing every value, but it's actually going through all 20ths of a second. And if we go grab just a player from the player's array, first player is the only player me. Down here we can find last level start in-game time, or as this calls it, M time level started. And that is 0.2, which is where this whole thing breaks apart, because it's subtracting 0.2 on this brand new level when I finish. Let me go grab the disassembly, and of course I lost it because I restarted the game. Over here, no. This one, here's the get stats function. So if we just set a breakpoint on there and go finish the level, this will let us mess with the times before we finish. So it freezes here, it's going to mess with some of these times. So this is 0.02, remember, which means if we happen, oh, I don't actually need to mess with anything. You see HUD says 29 seconds. But because it's subtracting the 0.2, if I now unpause the game, cheat engine does not like to do. Keybind only works in, oh, it's because I'm using the wrong keybind. Oh, well that's disappointing. Let's try that again. So now I'm going to have to mess with that. Why did the game crash? God damn it. I kinda wanted to go do this in TSE or TFE, but I figured I already have the pointers, it'll be fine. Of course, now I need to research for this function after I hook the game again. Oh no, it's still in the same place this time.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, so we're at 37 now, but the time... I'm checking players again. Last process tick, like in this case it's 0.25. So what if this was just 37.05? Well, when we continue on twice, 3 times, 4 times, oh, why does this keep getting hit? Let me just move stuff. So the time on our HUD was 37 and it very clearly should have been, but as you can see the time on the stat screen is 36. The HUD time is 0.2 seconds ahead of the time on your stat screen. And yeah, that's it. So hopefully that made sense, but that's why you can't trust the HUD timer.